Hi, my name is Terek. I'm a product manager on Spectacles, looking after SnapOS, our experiences and platform, and making sure that we build an incredible product that meets our users' expectations.
My name is Paul Copplestone. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of a company called Supabase, and we are a developer platform. We host largely Postgres databases if you're technical, but most of all, we kind of help developers build out applications, in particular, maybe websites or mobile apps, but in the case of Spectacles, hopefully.
Oh yeah, you guys got a new friend.
Yeah, exactly. A whole new suite of applications, hopefully.
We have been very focused on trying to build a product that would be exciting for developers, and I have to admit, like during the time when we got to know Supabase and what you guys are all about, we've been very keen on sort of like the developer experience that you guys provide, and sort of the great attention to detail that you guys have in terms of like how a person experiences your product. I guess I'm curious, where does that come from, and are there any parallels you see between the Spectacles themselves and what you guys are building with Supabase?
It's a great story. When we came to the office, can I tell the story? Yeah, I remember we flew in, and there was kind of, I get the sense that maybe at this time there was a debate whether you would adopt Supabase or not, and we were sitting in the room with Evan, and I don't remember how the debate happened, but it was quite clear at some point I put my foot down and said, no, like what we care about is developer experience, and we're not going to bend on this particular point, whatever it was we were talking about. And I could see that Evan, because I know he appreciates a good product as well, kind of just appreciated that. You know, we're just two companies trying to build great products. And you can see it in what you've built. And likewise, this is what we really care about. Over time, these things compound. Those small choices, or sometimes big choices, they make all the difference. You might lose one or two things here and there, but over the course of hopefully a generation, we end up building what we hope is the most amazing developer platform.
This isn't your first time thinking about AR or extended reality. Can you kind of like tell us how you think about that, or if there was specific moments that reminded you of a past experience?
Yeah, this is my third startup, but I've spent a lot of time in the startup space. Basically, since 2015, I think I've been working in startups exclusively. In 2018, I spent a lot of time going quite deep in virtual reality and augmented reality. What had happened was I was in this accelerator. It's a very cool accelerator where you don't know anyone, but they throw 100 people in a room. And I happened to meet this guy who was obsessed with augmented reality and the idea of building social networks around physical and digital, where the worlds would blur. But that's a big world. To map everything physical to an address in the cloud is quite a challenge from a architectural point of view. So we spent a lot of time figuring out this kind of developer platform where we would handle all of that scalability layer, and then people could just build the applications on top and we'd handle all the real-time stuff. So it's kind of full circle. When we met, now I'm building essentially this back end, more generic, and then the layer on top that you guys are building is essentially what I was building in 2018.
Which is kind of exciting, because like one of the things that excites us the most is that Supabase provides a lot of these fundamentals, building blocks that a lot of the lenses that some of our developers are starting to build are increasing complexity. They have needs for persisting data, for blob storage, for real-time capabilities, for being able to build up records of their users and authentication and all that. And that's sort of like that missing piece that we were able to get through our collaboration together.
It's really cool as well because the technology that I was building back then was proprietary, and we would have had to start from scratch. But now we're leveraging things like Postgres. It's very extensible, so you can do things like, for example, it has an extension called PostGIS, which is a spatial extension, and you can work with spatial data. And this you kind of get for free, so to speak. And I can imagine it's just going to be such a boon to the developers on Spectacles.
Obviously, with Spectacles, we're really excited about this, how AI comes to life on AR. Sort of like some might say that AR is the interface for AI. For the longest time, the understanding your world part of it was a bit of a puzzle. But with LLMs, and particularly multimodal LLMs, this has opened a new canvas, so to speak, for people to dream up new types of use cases. But from your perspective, I understand obviously AI has been a very key driver of your growth over the past little while. So could you just kind of like share with us how that has been and how did it all get started and where is it at today?
So this year, the developer tooling around AI has led to kind of a flourishing of builders, essentially. You've got this amazing interface where people can interact with it naturally. And we ended up stripping out a lot of the UI that we had built. And we just had kind of the code and a conversation. And you can kind of talk to your database. And these are the two modalities that you need. It's become a really neat tool. It's kind of changed everything at Supabase.
One thing that, like, when it comes to spectacles, and particularly the fact that there are a pair of glasses that have cameras, that is how they augment the world. They're able to sense what's around them. We started with enabling a set of features like experimental mode, and that allowed developers to get access to the camera, but restricted their ability to publish it. More recently, we've announced transparent permissions, which prompt the user every time when camera data is leaving the device, and allows them to explicitly accept that. And the big question that we're trying to think through or address together is how to build infrastructure that at the same time maintains a certain amount of privacy. How do you think about that? How do you think about the importance of privacy in the age of AI, especially when it's so capable and the value is so obvious, but at the same time also the potential harm of the data could be something that needs to be minded. So could you kind of like share with us how you think about that?
Yeah, well, first of all, philosophically, I'm kind of like an old school techie where I love open source, and if you know anything about that profile of person, they also love privacy, user privacy, everything about it. So for me, this philosophically is something that I care deeply about. And it's things that we've baked directly into our system, different configurations and controls that allow, you as our customer to control exactly which data can be accessed by different people, what can leave the systems. We've got different configurations that we've worked with your team. They've been incredible to work with your security team to develop different extensions and modules that we can put in that allow for a sandboxing of data that maybe things that a developer needs while they're developing, and then when they get into production, ensuring that that data will never leave the system, so to speak. So it's been great to be design partners on this, and we've been able to level up our own security protocols as we become design partners with Snap.
So Paul, what makes you want to work with Snap? What are you excited about? What is it going to unlock for you in the future?
Most of all, I'm super excited to work with Snap and the Spectacles team to develop what I hope is going to be one of the new emerging technologies of the next decade. So I can see that augmented reality is going to be really part of our future, and has come much faster than I thought, accelerated in part by AI, but also by the Snap team. So most of all, I'm excited about kind of riding that wave with you. And I think now our audiences are starting to merge. You're having more of an interest in developers, and we're having more of an interest in application developers. And I think with this dual interest and an interest in just crafting some of the best products in the world, I think then the synergies will just allow us to build together a much better product each.
With the new Snap Cloud product powered by Supabase, we have able to combine the best of both to give like a truly top-tier developer experience. And there's more to be done, and I'm excited and thrilled that we get to do that.